Okay.
Oh yeah. So there won't be any like listening thing. Like I'm gonna play the tune and you figure out which one it is.
Hmm.
But there you'll still have to know the tunes, like kind of know who wrote it and who played it, uh, and the form. At least knowing the form will be nice. Honestly, to tell you the truth, most of these are 12-bar blues. So if when in doubt, just say 12-bar blues. You'll probably be right.
Okay. All right.
So, but there are some AABA though. Um, yeah.
And so before you do that, do you normally give your class like, all right, I'm going to play these three different songs. So like of the ones you plan to give us to listen to, do you plan to give us like three different songs to listen to so we can get a sense of what it is we're actually listening to? So when we come to it, we can identify it or.
Yeah, so there's on Canvas there is a file. You know what? I didn't make a module for the test, but there is a file called the listening guide, and that
Okay.
has all the tunes that I've talked about.
Okay, cool.
So you can go on Canvas and go to the Files tab and find exam number one listening guide. And
Okay.
so, it's got the West End Blues, Charlie Parker, Now's the Time. That was another 12-bar blues. The Billie Holiday song, um, Maple Leaf Rag, Scott Joplin, and, all of the ones that I've talked about. And so those are going to be the ones that I reference on there.
Okay,
So
cool.
if I were you, I would go, and I think I could upload a little YouTube playlist at least of this. I don't know how many people are using YouTube for music, but I can upload a YouTube playlist of these, and I would just listen to them and look at my notes about, West End Blues, Louis Armstrong. Like, okay, it's a 12-bar blues. What do
Okay,
I need to
gotcha.
know about this tune? And it'll say, it's a 12-bar blues. What else will it say on there? I kind of forgot.
No,
Yeah,
perfect. I didn't see that. Thank you for that. That helps a lot.
yeah, yeah. And you know what I need to do is I need to make a module for all the review guides and everything. I think that's easier to find. Um, yeah, I'm still kind of new at using Canvas like this much. I usually don't use Canvas, so I apologize if things are hard to find and stuff like
No,
that.
no, no, no worries. You're fine. You're fine.
Any other questions about anything? These have been great questions, even just the ones about the class in general.
No, that was helpful. At least that way we know what to expect for the test and where we could find the stuff.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to be as helpful as I can, and and honestly, during the regular class, it would be open notes, and so feel free, so don't feel bad if you're using your notes. I highly encourage you to use your notes for this test. Um, Normally it would be an open note test, so you definitely have that going for you. Um,
I didn't realize there was a lot more rules to it. I thought jazz was more kind of like free, but there's a lot of different like structure that kind of pointed out to us, which is cool.
Yeah, yeah, that's and I thought the same thing too when I was like younger. I basically was playing jazz like kind of a lot in high school. That's kind of when I really started, and I thought it was just people just played any note that they want, and I heard of a blues and that's it. And then I find out that there's all this stuff going for it, and it wasn't even until later on, uh, after high school, when I was in college, that I found out, all of this stuff about the history, and it definitely makes it gives it more meaning behind the music, than just listening to it and it sounds good, you know what I mean? And oh, he had a good solo, you know what I mean? That's cool and all. But yeah, hearing like, oh, this is New Orleans style versus New York style. We're gonna get into Chicago style pretty soon. knowing, kind of hearing the difference between those, and knowing where it came from with ragtime, and even the minstrelsy stuff is really crazy. And the blues or the country blues, it's just, it all brings it all together, and I think it does help, when you listen to it. Yeah. And it's also cool too. And like I said, we're gonna do some of the concert reviews very soon here. I'm gonna upload that, I believe, next week. And I always try to put, some current musicians that are playing jazz, because I feel like the kind of the tendency to think about, when you hear jazz, it's like it's old, thinking the 1930s, or, all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of corny maybe, or something like that. But when you hear jazz today, like, and especially if you go hear it live, it's incredible. It's great. There's nothing like it. You could feel the energy. And they're really high level players, high level musicians. And so, yeah. So then if you know some of the, even just a little bit of the history behind it, when you go see those shows, it really makes a difference in helping you kind of enjoy it even more. So yeah, this is a fun class. This is one of my favorite classes to do. Even online, it's been pretty fun. So yeah. Any questions or comments or anything like that? If not, I can just kind of go through the review data.
So the exam review one guide, I just found it basically. Is that the whole thing that's covering the test, the main points you should study, or is there more things also?
You were kind of breaking up, but I think I heard you. You said, is this all of the things to study, or is there more? That's what you said, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay. Yeah. It's like getting all like robot-y, but I think I got you. Yeah. So that's all. It's actually, when you look at it, it's not that much, to be honest. But yeah, that's it. And if you do that, and also the listening review guide as well, and if you have those tunes, and you can at least have the difference between each one and know some background info about those, you should be good to go. Yeah, and I try to make, I don't want to make these tests, very hard, like, and try to trip you guys up on purpose and by technicalities and everything. So if you have this info ready, in your notes, you should be good to go on this exam. Yeah. Cool. Let's see here. Oh, okay. Oh, this is a good one, and this is kind of in the newer chapter. Oh, so the yeah, so the test I'll post up next week. I'm gonna post it on Monday, and you'll have until Friday to do it. Like Friday night, so you'll have plenty of time to do it. But like I said, you only get one attempt, and so just make sure, like, when you start the test, like, that's gonna be your one attempt right there. But you could choose when to do it, as long as it's by Friday at 11:59. You're done. I'm cool with whenever you do it. So you'll have that whole week to get ready. So you could take the test, Friday at 8:30 p.m. if you want. So I'm gonna just keep that whole week open for it, just so it doesn't mess up the schedule of the chapters. And I understand you guys have other classes and other things going on too. So I kind of like, you guys being able to choose when to do it. So Uh, yeah, so the chapters will be on the text. They'll come from the text, and there's a review guide up on Canvas that you can use. And if you know all those terms on there, and the review guide, and also the listening guide that there's also there under the files tab on Canvas, you should be good to go. And feel free to use your notes and all that kind of stuff. But yeah. Please make it 2. Yeah, I don't know about 2 attempts. We'll see. I'm not sure. I was thinking about that. Yeah, we'll see though. I'm not sure. I think you'll be good off 1, to be honest. Yeah, and it'll be a mix of multiple choice, fill in the blank, some matching in there, and some short answer. Maybe not fill in the blank, but yeah, matching, multiple choice, and short answer will definitely be all on there. Cool. Oh yeah, so one of the other things, I kind of want to go over a little bit for sure is the difference between ragtime and stride piano. And so this is stride piano is a newer term in this week's chapter 5, when talking about New York in the 1920s. And so, just to touch on that real quick. So ragtime, came out. Scott Joplin was kind of the main guy riding the rags, right? And so he wrote one of the rags that we listened to was Maple Leaf Rag. And so yeah, that's an important one to know. And so, but the difference between the two, ragtime is so ragtime's like a mix of a bunch of different aspects. It's a mix of the march form. It's a mix of the call and response and the spirituals and all that. It's a mix of all kinds of different types of music all into one, right? And so with ragtime's when you have the left hand that's keeping a steady 2-beat rhythmic foundation, and then the right hand's going against it, playing the melody or improvising or something like that. And so that's kind of ragtime. But the difference between ragtime and stride,
I thought that was stride, the hand movement.
So
the
they both do that. Yeah.
Oh.
So they both have that style, but stride is a little bit different in that it's faster. It tends to be faster, and it's more loud, and it's kind of just more aggressive. And so that's the main difference between ragtime and stride. Ragtime's a little more chill, whereas stride is a little more in your face, loud, fast. But they both do the hand thing, yeah. So it's kind of easy to get them mixed up. And stride stride is basically the New York style of ragtime. And so it's funny too, because if you think of New York, even today, it's like New York's like, upbeat, they're fast paced. Even all my friends I know from New York, they're my fastest walking friends. Like they walk so fast. I can't keep up with them. It's just like everything's just so fast paced, and that's how I kind of think of like stride piano. It's like it's more fast paced ragtime. So that's definitely an important thing to know. The difference between those two. How many questions? So the exam will be 40 questions, and it's worth 15% of your grade. Yeah.